Right there folks, hope you're all keeping safe out there. Today I'm just going to do a quick discussion, though now that I think about it, calling it discussion when there's only my voice being heard, it's a bit of a stretch, but you know what I mean. So yeah, okay. Transformers. Love the franchise, always have, even as a kid. I mean, I was born in 87, so the franchise has been going a few years back then, but being in the UK, it took a couple of years for the stuff to reach the UK from the US. So I still got to see the show. I bought a lot of the my family bought me a lot of the toys, mainly from car boot sales, but yeah, I loved it. But one thing in modern Transformers I actually really still love is the concept of shattered glass. Now this is an idea that was brought in during a BotCon years ago, where they took the idea from, well, there's actually a classic Star Trek episode called Mirror Mirror. It basically, the crew ends up in a universe where the good guys are evil, the evil guys are good, and it's just a flipped morality. And obviously Shattered Glass is a play on that, breaking the glass in the mirror. And I actually really like it. It's the story of the heroic Decepticons fighting against the evil Optimus Prime and his Autobots. And it went from being like a one-off BotCon thing to having its own little universe of comic books and prose stories and a few figures being made, mainly as BotCon or Transformers Collector Club exclusives, but I really like them. But unfortunately, being in the UK, not having much money, I couldn't get them. And so I kind of abandoned the idea of ever really having a Shattered Glass collection. So imagine my surprise when last year, early this year, Hasbro announced they were releasing a Shattered Glass Optimus Prime and Ratchet in a 2-pack in their Selects line. And as you can probably guess, I bought that straight away, and I've actually reviewed them. They're two great figures. They're probably my favourite versions of those moulds, just the colours work on them, they're really great. And I thought, oh, that's nice. I really hope to see more, but I wasn't really expecting more. I know like Hasbro might throw a bone every now and again to the fans, and I thought maybe this is like a one-off thing. So you can imagine my surprise when during Hasbro's Fan Fest, they revealed, as a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, they're doing an actual full line of transformed Shattered Glass figures. Now the one they showed off to begin with was Blur, and it looks amazing. It's got its own special packaging for the Shattered Glass line. As I said, you can only get them through Hasbro Pulse, which annoyed me a bit at first, but then I realised like other stores have got them in, like In Demand and Kapow, they've got that in as well, and Comics and Cocktails have managed to acquire a few, acquire pre-orders for a few because it's coming out later in the year. So my semi-fury over it being an exclusive to Hasbro Pulse subsided, and I just enjoyed how great this figure looks, because I mean it's a really cool repaint of the Studio Series Blur with a I was going to say not monocled, was it? An eye patch, that's it. An eye patch on his scarred face, like I was in the original Shattered Glass comics. And speaking of Shattered Glass comics, we're also getting a 5-part series from IDW to correspond with these releases, and I think like if you buy the figure as well, you get special versions of the comic books. And yeah, I'm going full in on that. Hasbro are getting a lot of my money with that line, because they've announced some of the figures. Well, they've announced most of the line. I think all the line actually. I think Blur, Goldbug, Starscream, Megatron, and Jetfire. It's going to be cool. I can imagine like Megatron will either be the Siege or the Earthrise mold repainted. Starscream same, Earthrise or Siege. Goldbug, I'm not entirely sure. They might just do a Bumblebee repaint. I kind of hope they don't, but I can live with it if they do. And Jetfire being a massive Supreme class / Commander class figure repainted in Shattered Glass, I'm going to really like that. But yeah, I say I'm going to get all these, but it got me thinking, like, there's loads of other Shattered Glass characters out there, and by this point we've got quite a few modern moulds of classic Transformer characters, and so it got me to here thinking, well, what other characters can they do? And that's going to be the topic here. Transformers, Shattered Glass. What else can they do? What other figures might we see in the future as, I don't know, maybe a second series on Hasbro Pulse, maybe as a few Generation Selects exclusives, but yeah, that sort of thing. Now up first is this is just like, now this here is massive wishful thinking, but the recently revealed Arc, the the Titan class figure. Oh, and by the way, yeah, all these ones I'm discussing now, I have nearly burnt my eyes out digi-bashing these things, which I'm terrible at, by the way, so I apologise if they don't look great. But just as like as a proof of concept thing, I just changed some of the colours around. So here's the Arc done in what I might consider to be Shattered Glass colours, taking a little bit of influence from how it appeared in the actual comic books and a little bit from Tidal Wave's colour scheme here and there, just because I really do like Tidal Wave. If you do get a another Titan at some point soon, I really hope it's Tidal Wave, because Tidal Wave was really cool. Yeah, as you can see, I think this would work really well as a Titan class Shattered Glass figure. It looks cool, and yeah, I did the vehicle mode as well. I threw it up on a starry background just to add to the spacey theme. As you can see, these colours work really well on it, and it's something I actually really hope we see. It'd be a very expensive exclusive or a very expensive repaint, but like, they've done Black Zarak recently, so I can't really see why they couldn't do this, because it wouldn't need any resculpting. Well, okay, they probably would resculpt the head into something else. Hopefully something resembling Tidal Wave a little bit, or a little bit of an homage to him, but I think it'd be really, really cool. Oh, and just as a like a second thing to this, the Titan figure comes with just like like the other recent Titans have actually, you know, the Fortress Maximus, Triptychon, Scorponok, and the Arc itself here comes with a deluxe class figure that integrates into it. In this case, it's mainframe, and I've changed his colours to match into something that, yeah, it drove me a bit batty trying to. I originally tried to colour all the lines individually on the displays. I thought, no, forget this. But as you can see, I think it looks really cool, and in his Teletran 1 alternate mode, I think these colours work. These colours work really well for him. It's something I'd really like to see. I'd actually really like to buy if it's available. Now onto something that's actually a bit more of a classic Shattered Glass design. The recently released, and yet again a figure I've reviewed, Kingdom Cyclonus. Cyclonus in the Shattered Glass comic books had Hot Rod's colour scheme. He actually turned traitor against the Decepticons for a little bit, but that was mainly because he was led astray by someone else, and but he regained his status and his respect within the Decepticon lines. But this colour scheme, I think, is really, really cool. I think looks really good in the figure. I mean, it is clearly Hot Rod's colours, but I think like the goldish yellow and the red, well, orangey red, look really good on him. And in his jet mode, I think the colours actually work really, really well. And you have no idea how hard it is actually to, like, when I colour these in, I do them in robot mode first, and then I have to look at it in vehicle mode and think, oh wait, is that part this part? So it has to be that colour, or wait, oh, is it this part? It has to be that colour, just, so I kind of hope I got it right. If I make any mistakes, I apologise, but yeah, I think this design will look really cool as a figure to be released. And of course, you couldn't have Cyclonus without his partner, Scourge. Scourge here, I think, he's been in like some stuff, like some of the comic books are like at a what do you call it, like a little brief bio card page thing they had him, and he had Cup's colour scheme, and it actually works really well. This is the Studio Series figure with Cup's colour scheme added to it, and I can't lie, I think this looks really great. I'm actually really happy with how this turned out, and the colours I think work really well. There's a there's a strange like correlation between his colour layout and Cup's, so when these colours are on him, he looks a lot like Cup. You know, a lot more than just simply having the colours would make you think. I really like this, and yet again, I would happily buy this as a set. I'd actually, as a release, I'd actually like to buy Scourge and Cyclonus. Maybe it'd be a bit expensive. It'd probably be like a £60 set because it's like 2 voyages, but I'd happily get them. I think they look brilliant in Shattered Glass colours. And yeah, okay, speaking about those two, obviously from the movies, and with Cyclonus having Hot Rod's colours. What about Hot Rod? Well, Hot Rod already has a Shattered Glass design. Probably the most famous one because it's a black and purple repaint, and I would have digibashed the version, but it's very difficult to turn. I personally don't know how to do it in any way that actually looks good. Like say taking a Studio Series Hot Rod and making him look like this colour scheme, but I can imagine we must be getting this guy relatively soon. There's probably plans to release him, because like we had this version, which is the first one from the BotCon. He looks really cool. He's, I say, black and purple with his little goatee and moustache. a nod to how Mr. Spock looked in that famous Star Trek episode. And Hasbro did actually release a figure of this relatively recently in the Power of the Primes line as Rodimus Unicronus. Now, he had a Decepticon symbol on him, but like repro labels do sets to convert these things into looking like how they should, so he's a really good stand-in for a Shattered Glass Rodimus. So if they don't release one like anytime soon, I'll probably track down that version, apply the necessary stickers to give him the purple Autobot logo, and yeah, I'll probably do that. But I just thought it was just worth noting while I was talking about those two. There's a Hot Rod version, or there's a Hot Rod option, and again, like Cyclonus needs Scourge, Hot Rod needs Cup. And here I am, well, here he is, Cup with Scourge's colour scheme, like he had in the comic books, though he only had like very brief appearances, like I think like 2 panels actually. But yeah, I actually think it looks really good with Scourge's colour scheme. It suits him a fair bit. There's nice places to put the well, the colour separation, as I said with Scourge, is very similar between the two, so they end up looking good, I think, with these colours. Not only that, but Cup's vehicle mode is just as, I don't know, utilitarian and ubiquitous as Scourge's is. Well, Scourge is. I think that's proper English. Anyway, I could quite easily imagine getting like 3 or 4 of these and having some Cup sweeps. What do Cup sweeps be called? The mugs? Yeah, Cup and the mugs. Yeah, sorry, that was a pretty bad joke. Another one I think we could probably get is a very old, well, one of the original designs from Shattered Glass, and that is Jazz. Because like really, there isn't very much difference between Jazz in Shattered Glass and Jazz as he is in the normal universe. This image really should have like a little purple Autobot logo on the front, but I couldn't quite get one to fit there nicely, so you have to use your imagination on that, I apologise. The main differences are a slightly different tinted visor, yellow headlights, a bit of purple detailing. I think really like the upper leg should be black, but it depends on who's drawing it. But yeah, he's not much of a difference. It's just a couple of different tampos on him, like the Massacre Racing. If you well, not dodgy. What's the best way of describing this? If you aggressive sponsor symbols or logos on his vehicle mode would go really well, but he's not a massive repaint to make him into a Shattered Glass version. As a kind of a cool note, they're like the major difference between Jazz, personality-wise, was the Shattered Glass version spoke like Mr. T. Like I Pete the Decepticon fool. And that's like a really cool little thing. Like obviously, like Scatman Crothers did Jazz in G1. Having another cultural icon who's quite famous for the way he speaks as his Shattered Glass version, I thought that was kind of funny. And yeah, of course there are other like core G1 Autobots who had Shattered Glass colour schemes, and I think like this one here, Mirage, I think looks really good. This is on the Siege mould because there wasn't an Earthrise one, but it still works really well as a Earth vehicle, even as a semi-Cybertronian vehicle. I kind of like how the dark colours and the little hints of orange give like a Halloween-y feel. In the comic books, he was like, because Ratchet in the comic books is a bit of a mad doctor, and he did some experimenting on him, and he made him stay like 90% invisible all the time. So you could possibly make this figure out of clear plastic, like a clear sort of brown or grey plastic. That would be kind of cool. And yeah, more G1 bots. One actually really like the look of this. Is one actually was like I wasn't sure about when I was doing it, but I think it's actually turned out really cool. Warpath. Warpath is basically just him but blue, with a few yellow details in red eyes, but the colour scheme I think actually works really well. It's got a very, how best to describe it? When I look at him, I think he looks like a GoBot. I don't know why I think he looks like a GoBot, but those colours just make me think GoBot. But either way, as you can see in both robot mode and vehicle mode, they work really well. I tried to get the blue as close as I could to like his 1 or 2 comic book appearances, and I think it works alright. It's one I'm actually quite fond of, and yet again, one I'd happily buy. And speaking of ones I'd happily buy, here's one that I didn't like at all while I was doing it, and then I finished it, put it up for people to see, and they absolutely loved it. And as I've looked at it since, I've grown to appreciate it. Huffer. Huffer in this sort of like dark khaki colour scheme with yellow and silver highlights. It's surprisingly menacing, and upon reflection, I think it looks really good. this is one yet again I'd really like to get, because Huffer is one I haven't bought him. I like the look of him, but it's actually, I think it's his classic colours maybe. Like I'm holding out for the pipes recolor, or remold / repaint. But like if they sold him in these colours, I'd happily have to snap him up. I think he looks really, really cool. And speaking of ones I'd have to snap up straight away, because I actually have the proper release of the figure, Inferno. I think Inferno looks amazing, that the current figure, that the actual figure that you can get. But in the Shattered Glass colours are like this sort of like dark minty green with yellow, sickly yellow highlights. I think it looks really cool. I'm not gonna lie, I actually really, really like this. I would definitely have to get this. I think it's really cool. And as a funny aside, in the comic books, Inferno is probably my favourite Shattered Glass character. He's a makeup artist who who just loves like mini bots. Like he loves to date and be very suave and plan like weekends away or intimate dinners with all the mini bots. So people like Tailgate or Huffer or just other small Autobots. And I think that's adorable. And he himself is like a really fun character when you're reading. Like if you can read the pro stories from Fun Pub, I recommend it. He is great in them. And speaking of being great, I couldn't not mention probably my favourite character design wise, I suppose you could say, Soundwave. Now this is Soundwave on the Ratchet body, and please excuse the head, I had to try and import a head over from the Siege / Earthrise version. I think it looks okay. I couldn't do any better. That's not to say no one could do any better, just my limited skills. But because you see, in Shattered Glass, Soundwave, for most of it at the beginning, I think actually most of it nearly all the way through, he doesn't transform into a cassette player like the traditional way. He transformed into a minivan. And he still had the cassettes, but they sort of like stayed inside his van and like inside his chest. And I don't think about it, what were they meant to be? Waterbeds? Throw pillows? Because he's very much like G1 Jazz, in like he loves Earth culture, he loves to experience it, to go around Earth just to see what the place is like, and makes him a very fun, loving character. And as you can see with these colours, I think it actually looks really cool. It's just a white and vibrant blue minivan. It looks really good. It'd probably just be a repaint / tiny remold of the Ironhide version of this mould. You could do it with the Ratchet version as well, I suppose, because they've already got that set up in the in white. Few colour swaps here and there. I think that looks really cool, ain't gonna lie. And speaking of really cool, this is the one, like the last one for today actually. I might do another one of these videos at some point, but last one for today. I really wanted to do something, just a character I hadn't seen in the comic books, but one I wanted to just experiment with the colours. And I thought I'd go with Earthrise Snapdragon. And my original intent here was to give him like Star Saber's colours, but I think it ended up being much more like Skylink's. Either way, I think it actually kind of works. With the whites, the blues, the yellows, the vibrant blue eyes. I think it looks really cool. I'm not going to lie, I really like this. He looks good in robot mode, looks very dynamic. I might, like, if they were to release it, I'd kind of hope they gave him a sword just to be a bit more Star Sabery. Or failing that, a repaint of the the Minicon Decepticon Air Team. Repaint them like the Energon or / Armada Star Saber Minicons. That'd be a nice cool pack-in with someone. Actually, that'd be really cool. I suppose I haven't done that yet, but really cool. And like in jet mode, I think looks really good. I changed the colours of his Titan Master / Headmaster partner to be a bit more, in my mind, I think it looks a bit more like Star Saber's smaller robot. I must admit I'm terrible with like the Japanese names around that period. So like the smaller Star Saber. But as you can see, I think the jet mode looks really cool. That vibrant blue for the cockpits, a little bit of red detailing, some metallic blue detailing. Looks really good. And as I said, looking a bit like Skylink's, transforming him into his dinosaur mode. I think this looks really good. I ain't gonna lie, this looks good. I think. Yeah, again, it's one I'd happily buy. And yeah, I think it looks good. If I'm wrong, if you people out there disagree with me, just please let me know. Do you think of a better colour scheme for them? Yeah, again, let me know. This is just my ideas. And yeah, as I said, that was the last one. So those were just some ideas I had for other Shattered Glass releases. As I said, I might do another video with some more because I've got some others like going through my mind at the moment, like Grimlock into his colours, Omega Supreme into his Omega Doom Shattered Glass colours, Tracks that look cool, Ultra Mag. There's a bunch of others I'm going to do in another video at some point because I say at the minute, if you've seen my last video, you know I'm moving house, so a lot of my filming stuff / all my filming stuff is packed away. So these next couple of weeks I'm going to be doing just these sort of videos where I don't actually film anything, but strangely, despite not having to film anything, these ones have took me longer to do because I've nearly burnt my eyes out on Photoshop changing these colours, but hopefully it was worth it. I hope you all enjoyed watching them and just listening to my ideas. So folks, as always, I want you all to stay safe, stay sane, and keep on rolling. And I'll see you all next time. Ta-da for now.